Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, April 23rd, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's NBA playoff action, look ahead to tonight's NBA playoff action, yesterday's Stanley Cup action, look ahead to tonight's Stanley Cup playoff action, go over yesterday's baseball action, and go over tonight's baseball action, do my power rankings for baseball as well as my players of the week, and I'll do my 11th version of the mock draft, which the draft now is 3 days away. All right, let's get started. NBA playoffs. The Bucks defeated the Celtics 104-102 to tie up the series at 2 apiece. Giannis Antetokounmpo, yet again, was the best player on the court. 27.7 rebounds and 5 assists in the win. Jaylen Brown put up 34 in defeat, as this series is now a best of 3. The Spurs defeated the Warriors 103-90 to stave off elimination, to live to play another day. LaMarcus Aldridge, 22 points in the win. Kevin Durant put up 32 in defeat. And yet again, Greg Popovich will miss Game 5. Ettore Messina will coach Game 5. The Wizards defeated the Raptors 106-98 to tie the series up at 2 apiece. Nice comeback from the Wizards. Bradley Beal put up 31 points in the win and got fouled out due to a bad call. And DeMar DeRozan put up 35 in defeat. The Wizards should be fortunate they won this game, and they deserve to win this game. There's a lot of bad calls, and they're going against them and going in Toronto's favor. So, good for Washington. That's now a best of 3. The Cavaliers defeated the Pacers 104-100 to tie up that series at 2 apiece. LeBron James, 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists in the win. Domantas Sabonis put up 19 in defeat. Victor Oladipo had a disappointing game. That's now a best of 3. And in terms of my picks yesterday, I went 3-1. The lone game I was incorrect on, I said Golden State would sweep the Spurs, but no, the Spurs live to play another day. Tonight's games: Rockets at the Timberwolves, 8 o'clock TNT. Houston has a 2-1 series lead. This is Game 4, obviously. I want to pick the Timberwolves here to tie it up at 2 apiece, but something tells me that the Rockets get hot from 3. Let's go 123-120, close game. James Harden's the best player on the court. So give me the Rockets to take a 3-1 series lead. Thunder at the Jazz in the 10:30 TNT game. This should be so much fun. This is the most interesting game in all the sports tonight, in my opinion. Unless you could argue the 2 hockey games are more important, but this is, I think, the most fascinating. This should be so fun. I like the Jazz to go up 3-1 here. They're home. That crowd was rocking the other night. And I like Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert to lead the way for the Jazz to take a 3-1 series lead. I won't be surprised if Oklahoma City ties it up at 2 apiece. So, anyway, let's go 115-107 Jazz. Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 teams were eliminated. 2 teams have advanced. The Penguins defeated the Flyers 8-5. Pittsburgh wins the series in 6, and now they'll await the winner of the Capitals Blue Jackets series. First period, though, Flyers on the board first on a goal by Sean Couturier. His third of the playoffs, 1-0 Flyers. Then Sidney Crosby, 6th of the playoffs, assisted by Chris Letang and Brian Dumoulin, 1-1 game. Carl Hagelin, 2nd of the playoffs, assisted by Phil Kessel and Riley Sheahan, makes it 2-1 Pittsburgh. Andrew McDonald, 2nd of the playoffs, ties it up at 2 apiece, assisted by Ivan Provorov and Sean Couturier. 40 seconds into the second period, Sean Couturier is 4th of the playoffs, 2nd of the game, assisted by Matt Reed, puts Philly up 3-2. Scott Lawton's 1st of the playoffs, assisted by Sean Couturier, makes it 4-2 Philly. Here comes Pittsburgh. Patrick Hornquist, 2nd of the playoffs, assisted by Jake Gunsel, and Sidney Crosby makes it a 4-3 game. The Jake Gunsel show takes over from here as he has his 3rd goal of the playoffs, assisted by Ali Mata, and Patrick Hornquist makes it a 4-4 game. Third period, Gunsel, 2nd of the game, 4th of the playoffs, assisted by Phil Kessel, makes it 5-4 Pittsburgh. Gunsel's 3rd of the game for the hat trick, his 5th of the playoffs, assisted by Sidney Crosby and Chris Letang, 6-4 Pittsburgh. Jake Gunsel, again, 10 seconds later, his 6th of the playoffs, his 4th of the game, assisted by Patrick Hornquist and Chris Letang, 7-4 Penguins. Sean Couturier's hat trick, 3rd of the game, assisted by Claude Giroux, his 5th of the playoffs, makes it a 7-5 game. Brian Rustin to the empty net, his 3rd of the playoffs, makes it 8-5 final. So a high-scoring elimination game as Pittsburgh moves on, Philly goes home. Matt Murray, despite giving up 5 goals, stayed in the game the whole time. 21 saves on 26 shots. I believe his team bailed him out there, so give the Penguins offense credit. Michael Neuvirth stayed in the game this whole time too, giving up 7 goals. He had 27 saves on 27 shots. This was an offense extravaganza in this one, as the Penguins, deservingly so, advanced to the second round. And the Predators defeated the Avalanche 5-0 to win it in 6. Great season for the Avalanche. A lot of young players on this team. They have a bright future. We'll see if they're back in the postseason next year. I think they have to get better on the defensive end. Salemyov Varlamov needs to get healthy. And they should be a solid team next year, but the playoffs I don't think are a sure thing for them next year. But anyway, first period, Matthias Ekholm's first of the playoffs, assisted by Colton Sissons and Nick Bonino, 1-0 Nashville. Austin Watson's fourth of the playoffs, assisted by Colton Sissons and Nick Bonino, 2-0 Nashville. Second period, Philip Forsberg, 38 seconds into the period, 3-0 Nashville. Nick Bonino's second of the playoffs, assisted by Callie Jenkrock and Ryan Ellis, makes it 4-0 Nashville. Third period, Victor Edvardson's second of the playoffs, assisted by PK Subban, 5-0 Nashville is your final. Pecorine was excellent in this game. His best game of the series by a mile. 22 saves on 22 shots. Andrew Hammond was not very good. 32 saves on 37 shots. Well, at least he wasn't as good as he was in Game 5. Tonight, you have 2 games. Bruins-Maple Leafs. The Bruins trying to close out the series. Maple Leafs trying to extend to 7. I'm going to say that the Maple Leafs win tonight and force a Game 7. I think Austin Matthews will come to life. Mitch Marner will play well. William Nylander will play well. Mike Babcock will help the Maple Leafs get into forcing a Game 7. And the Capitals at the Blue Jackets. Will the Capitals move on to the second round and win their 4th in a row to close out the series? Or will the Blue Jackets finally get a win on home ice to force a Game 7? Hard call. Give me 4-3 Washington in overtime. I think that would be an appropriate ending for the series. And as a score for Maple Leafs Bruins, give me 5-4 Maple Leafs in regulation. So I believe there will be 1 Game 7 and 1 more elimination tonight. Baseball. A couple interesting results for you. The Yankees feed the Blue Jays 5-1 as they improve to 11-9. Toronto drops to 13-8. Luis Severino with the win. Jaime Garcia with the loss. Bottom of the first, Didi Gregorius solo shot, his 6th homer of the year. 1-0 Yanks. Bottom of the second, 2-run double, Austin Romine, 3-0 Yanks. Top of the 6th, Teoscar Hernandez home run. I believe that's his 4th of the year. 3-1 as Toronto gets on the board. Bottom of the 6th, RBI double, Miguel Andujar, 4-1 Yanks. Bottom of the 7th, sacrifice fly, Didi Gregorius, 5-1's your final. Luis Severino is outstanding. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.32 ERA. Jaime Garcia, not so much. 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with an ERA of 4.57. So Garcia, after being solid his first couple starts, had his worst outing of the year to this date. The Indians defeat the Orioles 7-3 as the Indians improve to 11-8. Baltimore drops to 6-16. Corey Kluber with the win. Andrew Cashner with the loss. Bottom of the first, home run, Manny Machado, his 7th of the year, 1-0 O's. Top of the 4th, home run, Jose Ramirez, his 6th of the year, ties it up at 1 apiece. Also in the top of the 4th, RBI double, Yonder Alonso, 2-1 Indians. Bottom of the 4th, Manny Machado's 8th homer of the year, ties it up at 2 apiece. Also in the bottom of the 4th, RBI single, Chris Davis, 3-2 O's. Top of the 5th, here come the Indians. Game-tying RBI single, Francisco Lindor, 3-3 game. Also in the top of the 5th, RBI single, Michael Brantley, 4-3 Indians. Top of the 9th, 2-run home run, Jose Ramirez, his 7th of the season, 2nd of the game, 6-3 Indians. And also in the top of the 9th, RBI double, Yan Gomes, 7-3 Indians was your final. Corey Kluber, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 1.96 ERA. Andrew Cashner, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.6 ERA. The Royals defeat the Tigers 8-5 as they improve to 5-15. Detroit drops to 9-11. Kevin McCarthy with the win. Drew Van Hagen with the loss. Calvin Herrera with the save. Bottom of the first, RBI ground out, Miguel Cabrera, 1-0 Tigers, followed by an RBI single by Nick Castellanos, 2-0 Tigers. Top of the sixth, Whit Merrifield home run, 2-1 game. Also in the top of the sixth, a grand slam by Abraham Almonte, giving the Royals a 5-2 lead. Bottom of the sixth, RBI single, Nicholas Castellanos, 5-3 game. Also in the bottom of the sixth, RBI single, Jacoby Jones, 5-4 game. Bottom of the sixth, sacrifice fly, James McCann, a 5-5 game. Top of the seventh, Mike Moustakas home run, 8-5's your final. Eric Goglin, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts, leaves the game with an 8.59. Francisco Liriano, 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.13 ERA. The Rays defeated the Twins 8-6 as they improve to 8-13. The Twins dropped to 8-8. Alex Colon with the win. Addison Reed with the loss. Bottom of the first, 2-run home run, C.J. Cron, 2-0 Rays. Top of the second, Eduardo Escobar home run, makes it a 2-1 game. Top of the third, RBI single, Eddie Rosario, 2-2 game. Top of the sixth, RBI double, Max Kepler, 3-2 Twins lead. Bottom of the sixth, RBI single, Joey Wendell, 3-3 game. Bottom of the sixth as well, 3-run home run by Adini Hechavarria, 6-3 Rays. Top of the seventh, RBI single, Miguel Sano, 6-4 game. Top of the eighth, game-tying 2-run single, Brian Dozier makes it a 6-6 game. Bottom of the ninth, walk-off home run, Carlos Gomez to give the Rays the 8-6 win. Yanni Chirinos, 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.92 ERA. Phil Hughes, 3 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 5.4 ERA. The Phillies defeated the Pirates 3-2 in 11 innings. The Phillies complete the sweep and improve to 14-7 on the year. Pittsburgh drops to 12-10. Yaxel Rios with the win. Richard Rodriguez with the loss. Top of the fifth, 2-run home run by Elias Diaz to make it 2-0 Pirates. Bottom of the fifth, RBI double by Nick Pivetta to make it a 2-1 game. Also in the bottom of the fifth, sacrifice by Cesar Hernandez to make it a 2-2 game. And the walk-off single in the bottom of the 11th by Aaron Altherr to give the Phillies a 3-2 victory. Nick Pivetta, 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.57 ERA. Trevor Williams, 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.15 ERA. The Astros defeat the White Sox 7-1 as they improve to 16-7. Chicago drops to 4-14. Lance McCullers Jr. with the win. Aaron Bummer with the loss. Bottom of the second, RBI double by Yonner Sanchez. 1-0 White Sox. Top of the fifth, sacrifice by Carlos Correa, 1-1 game. Top of the seventh, here come the Astros. RBI single, Jose Altuve, 2-1 Astros. RBI single, Alex Bregman, 3-1 Astros. 2-run ground rule double, Marwin Gonzalez, 5-1 Astros. Fielder's choice, Evan Gattis, 6-1 Astros. And the top of the ninth, home run, Evan Gattis, 7-1 Astros as your final. Lance McCullers Jr., 6 innings, 8 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.67 ERA. Reynaldo Lopez, 5 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 1.5 ERA. The Brewers defeated the Marlins 4-2 as they win their 6th straight game. Junior Guerrero with the win. Caleb Smith with the loss. Josh Hader with the save. Top of the first, RBI double, Justin Bour, 1-0 Marlins. Bottom of the fourth, 2-run home run, Christian Yelich, 2-1 Brewers. Bottom of the seventh, Eric Thames was safe on the throwing error by Justin Bour as Travis Shaw scores, 3-1 Brewers. Top of the eighth, RBI single, Justin Bour to make it a 3-2 game. Bottom of the eighth, Jesus Aguilar, RBI single, 4-2 Brewers, that's your final. Junior Guerrero, 5 innings, 5 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts, leaves the game with a .56 ERA. Caleb Smith, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 10 strikeouts. So a nice bounce-back start for Caleb Smith. Leaves the game with a 5.82 ERA, though. That's still pretty bad. The Cardinals defeated the Reds 9-2 as they improved to 13-8. The Reds dropped to 3-18. Miles McCullough with the win. Luis Castillo with the loss. Bottom of the second, home run, Colton Wong, his first of the year, 1-0 Cardinals. Bottom of the third, infield singer Dexter Fowler, 2-0 Cardinals. Followed by a sacrifice fly by newly called up Tyler O'Neill, 3-0 Cardinals. Top of the 6th, RBI double. Jesse Winker makes it a 3-1 game, followed by an infield single by Joey Votto, make it a 3-2 game. Cardinals take over from here. Bottom of the 7th, 3-run home run, Paul DeJong, 6-2 Cardinals. Bottom of the 8th, Greg Garcia, 2-run double, 8-2 Cardinals. Sacrifice by Yadier Molina, 9-2 is your final. Miles McCullough, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.46 ERA. Luis Castillo, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 6.51 ERA. The Rangers defeated the Mariners 7-4 as they improve to 8-15. Seattle drops to 11-9. Martin Perez with the win, as Mario Ramirez with the loss. Keone Kela with the save. Bottom of the 2nd, RBI groundout Jurickson Profar, 1-0 Rangers. Bottom of the 4th, home run Nomar Mazara, 2-0 Rangers. Also in the bottom of the 4th, 2-run home run Joey Gallo, 4-0 Rangers. Top of the 5th, RBI single Gene Segura makes it a 4-1 game, followed by the RBI double by Mitch Haniger making it a 4-2 game. Bottom of the 5th, infield single Sin-Soo Choo, 5-2 Rangers. Top of the 7th, 2-run home run Mitch Haniger makes it a 5-4 game. Bottom of the 8th, RBI single Isaiah Kinnear Fafea. It's a 2-run single, so 7-4 Rangers. That was your final. Martin Perez had his best start of the early season. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts, leaves the game with a still ugly 9.82 ERA. As Mario Ramirez, 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout, leaves the game with a 9.64 ERA. The Cubs defeat the Rockies 9-7 as they improve to 10-9. Colorado drops to 12-11. Jose Quintana with the win. Herman Marquez with the loss. Brendan Morrow with the save. Top of the 1st, RBI single Tommy La Stella, 1-0 Cubs. RBI single Kyle Schwarber, 2-0 Cubs. RBI single Victor Caratini, 3-0 Cubs. Top of the 2nd, home run Javier Baez, 4-0 Cubs. Top of the 3rd, 2-run single Jason Hayward, 6-0 Cubs. Bottom of the 3rd, 2-run triple Trevor Story, 6-2 game. Bottom of the 5th, home run Charlie Blackmon, 6-3 game. Home run Nolan Arenado, 6-4 game. Top of the 7th, RBI groundout Albert Almora Jr., 7-4 Cubs. Followed by a 2-run double by Javier Baez, 9-4 Cubs. Bottom of the 7th, RBI groundout Ryan McMahon, 9-5 game. Bottom of the 7th, infield single David Dahl that scored in 2 thanks to an error by Carl Edwards Jr. 9-7 was your ball game. Jose Quintana, who's been disappointing so far to start the season, gets the win. 5 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a still ugly 7.78 ERA. Herman Marquez did not have a good outing. 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 6.14 ERA. The Athletics defeated the Red Sox 4-1. To deal the Red Sox their 2nd straight loss, who are now 17-4. Oakland improves to 11-11. Blake Trehan with the win. David Price with the loss. Bottom of the 1st, RBI single Chris Davis, 1-0 Oakland. Top of the 7th, RBI double Brock Holt, 1-1 game. Bottom of the 8th, the game-winning home run, 3-run shot Chris Davis. 4-1's your final. Daniel Mengden pitched great. 6 1/3 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, and 5 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.86 ERA. So 2 solid pitching performances in a row by an Oakland starter. First with the no-hitter by Sean Manaea, and then today with Mengden. So pretty good. And David Price on the other side, 7 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 2.93 ERA. So the Red Sox bats go cold in 2 games. The Giants defeated the Angels 4-2 as they improve to 9-12. LA drops to 14-8. Johnny Cueto with the win. Jamie Barria with the loss. Hunter Strickland with the save. Top of the 3rd, ground out in the double play by Buster Posey. Drives in a run, 1-0 Giants. Top of the 3rd as well, 2-run home run. Evan Longoria, 3-0 Giants. Top of the 5th, home run Brandon Belt, 4-0 Giants. Bottom of the 8th, 2-run home run Mike Trout, his 9th of the year. 4-2 is your final. Johnny Cueto, another great game. 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a .35 ERA. If the Giants continue to struggle, Cueto will certainly be a hot name at the trading deadline, as well as his teammate, who everybody's going to try to get, Madison Bumgarner, assuming he comes back strong and healthy. Barria, meanwhile, 2 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout, leaves the game with an ERA of 3.86. 8-6. The Diamondbacks defeated the Padres 4-2 as they improve to 15-6. San Diego drops to 8-15. Patrick Corbin with the win. Joey Lucchesi with the loss. Archie Bradley with the save. Bottom of the fourth is when the Diamondbacks scored all their runs. Paul Goldschmidt scored as A.J. Pollock stole second base on the throwing error by Joey Lucchesi. 1-0 Arizona. Home run, Nick Ahmed, a 2-run shot, 3-0 Diamondbacks. And an RBI single by Patrick Corbin, 4-0 Diamondbacks. Top of the sixth, 2-run home run, Christian Villanueva to make it a 4-2 game. Patrick Corbin was great again. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 11 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.89 ERA. Joey Lucchesi, 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.7 ERA. The Dodgers came from behind to defeat the Nationals 4-3 as they improved to 10-10. Washington drops to 10-12. Josh Fields with the win. Trevor Gott with the loss. Kenley Jansen with the save. Top of the second, sacrifice fly. Pedro Severino, 1-0 Nats. Top of the fourth, Michael A. Taylor home run, 2-0 Nationals. Top of the sixth, sacrifice fly. Moises Sierra, 3-0 Nationals. Bottom of the sixth, here come the Dodgers. 2-run double. Yasmani Grandal makes it 3-2. Followed by an RBI double by Cody Bellinger to make it a 3-3 game. Bottom of the seventh, the game-winning sacrifice fly by Corey Seager. 4-3 Dodgers. That's your final. Alex Wood pitched okay. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.72 ERA. Jeremy Hillickson was okay. 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. A positive for the Dodgers in this game, above all other things, Kenley Jansen looks like he's back from whatever problems he had. He's looking better, and he better continue to pitch that way or else the Dodgers are in trouble. Mets-Braves was rained out yesterday. Makeup date, May 28th. Today's slate of games, you have the Braves at the Reds. Mike Falta-Units against Sal Romano. Twins-Yankees, rematch of the wild card game from last year. So that's interesting. Jake Odorizzi against Masahiro Tanaka. The only more fitting thing than that would if it was Irvin Santana against Luis Severino, because that was the pitching matchup in that game last fall. The Indians and the Orioles tonight. They're finishing out a 4-game set. Carlos Carrasco and Kevin Gausman. The Indians looking to take 3 out of 4 there. The Athletics and the Rangers. Trevor Cahill and Matt Moore. The Athletics are playing a lot better as they look to go above 500 and cement themselves as a surprise team in the American League. Mariners, White Sox. The Mariners looking to continue their nice little run. Mike Leake against Carson Fulmer. The White Sox going through some turmoil right now. Angels, Astros, Tyler Skaggs, Garrett Cole. Cole's been an absolute stud so far this season. And I mentioned this on a podcast a week ago. Teams are regretting not trading for him. Padres, Rockies. Brian Mitchell, Chad Bettis. Marlins, Dodgers. Harleen Garcia against Walker Buehler. And Buehler's making his big league debut. And expect him to be up for good. And he's going to be a star in this league. And today's only going to be the beginning of it. And last but not least, in terms of games, Nationals, Giants, you have Gio Gonzalez against Chris Stratton. Power rankings for the week. I'm doing this every week. I go from 30 to 1 because that's what makes it more fun. Number 30, the same number 30 as last week, the Cincinnati Reds, who are 3-18 on the year. The Reds haven't won a single game yet since firing their manager. They've only won 1 game this week, which Byron Price was still managing the team when they defeated the Brewers on Monday, and ever since, they've lost 5 in a row, 2 to the Brewers, and then 3 to the Cardinals, granted all on the road. This week, they have the Braves coming to town for 4, and they're at Minnesota for 3. So it should be an interesting week for the Reds. Maybe Nick Senzel gets called up at some point to make it a little bit exciting. I won't be surprised if they pick off the Braves twice. I don't think the Braves are that good of a team, although they have a lot of talent coming from the minor leagues, and I really don't love their rotation right now, but I like it long term. Freddie Freeman's a great player. But the Reds, I won't be surprised if they pick off the Braves a couple times here. The Twins had a bad series, lost over the weekend. I'll get to them soon. So 3-4 is not that far-fetched for Cincinnati this week. Number 29, a team that's going from a little bit of turmoil right now. I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. That's the Chicago White Sox, who are 4-14. Sad story for them, as Danny Farquhar had brain surgery, and he's still in ICU, but he's in stable condition. It's clear that everybody is thinking about Farquhar right now instead of the game itself. The White Sox haven't won a game since April 11th. They got swept by the Astros, and then they got swept by the Athletics. And this week, they got Seattle in for 3, and at the Royals for 5 with the doubleheader on Saturday. So it should be an interesting week for the White Sox. They have 8 games. I won't be all that stunned if they go 4-4, because I don't think the Mariners are that great of a team, and the Royals are among the league's worst teams. So I won't be shocked if they went 4-4 this week. But thoughts and prayers out to Danny Farquhar. That's just really, really sad. Number 28 is the Miami Marlins, who only won 1 game this week, which was surprisingly against the Yankees on Tuesday night. Other than that, they had a rough week. They got swept by the Brewers, and they got destroyed by the Yankees on Monday night. So a 1-5 week for the Marlins, which isn't a surprise. It's not going to get any easier as they go to the Dodgers for 3, off day Thursday, and then they host the Rockies for 3. I won't be that surprised if they pick off the Rockies at least once, so 1-5 seems realistic for the Marlins. 27 is the Kansas City Royals. I just mentioned them a couple minutes ago. They are not a very good team. They got swept by the Blue Jays to begin the week. And they actually got a split with the Tigers to close out the weekend, so that's not that bad. They host the Brewers to start the week, and then they finish the week with 5 games against the White Sox, all home games. So I wouldn't be all that shocking for the Royals to go 4-3 here. So I don't think that is inconceivable here, as the Royals can have a winning week next week. With a Brewer team that's playing a little better right now, and a vulnerable but tumultuous White Sox team coming in to town. Number 26 is the Baltimore Orioles, who are still in the midst of their series against the Cleveland Indians. They lost 2 out of 3 over the weekend, and then they got swept by the Tigers. So I won't be surprised if they lose again. So that would be 9 losses in 10 games. That would not be cool. They close out with the Indians tonight, and then the Rays come to town for 3, and then the Tigers come to town for 3. So this is a good opportunity for the Orioles to pick up some wins here. I won't be shocked if they have a 5-2 week here, with one of those losses coming against Cleveland, and maybe one of those losses coming to the likes of either Tampa Bay or Detroit. So don't be surprised if the Orioles come up with a good week here at home. Number 25 is the San Diego Padres, who were playing well a little bit last week, but did not have that good of a week this past week. They got swept by the Dodgers, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, so a 1-5 week for them. They begin the week at the Rockies, off day Thursday, then they host the Mets for 3. That looks like 2-4 right there, as the Padres are going to continue to sink down the standings. Number 24 is the Detroit Tigers, who are sitting at 9-11 right now. I don't think they're as good as 9-11, and their schedule's been favorable for them. They swept the Orioles to begin the week, and they close out the week splitting with the Royals at home. They begin the week at Pittsburgh for 3, and then they close out the week at the Orioles. I won't be surprised if that's 2-4 and the Tigers continue to fall. Number 23 is the Texas Rangers, who are 8-15. They didn't really have that good of a week this past week after beating up on the Astros a little bit a couple weeks ago. Or was it last weekend? They lost 2 out of 3 to the Rays to begin the week. They had the off day Thursday, and they lost 2 out of 3 to the Mariners. They begin the week starting tonight hosting the Athletics. They're off on Thursday, and then they travel above the border to take on the Blue Jays. That is starting to look like 1-5, 2-4 for me. I won't be that surprised if they end up 3-3 though, because they're capable of beating some good teams, as we saw them with Houston. Number 22 is the Tampa Bay Rays. I just mentioned them. They are sitting at 8-13. They had a solid week this week. They took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, and they followed that up with an impressive sweep of the Minnesota Twins. That included 2 walk-offs. They begin the week at the Orioles, and they close out the week at Fenway against the Red Sox. That is looking like a 3-3 week for them. I wouldn't rule out worse, but it's probably going to be worse than 3-3. Number 21 is the San Francisco Giants, who are sitting at 9-12 right now, still missing Madison Bumgarner. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks to begin the week, and they close out the week with a good weekend, winning 2 out of 3 in Los Angeles against Mike Trout and the Angels. Beginning tonight, they host the Nationals for 3, and then they have the off day, and then they have 4 games beginning Friday against the Dodgers with a doubleheader on Saturday. So it should be an interesting week for the San Francisco Giants. They have to go 4-3 or better. And if they don't, then there's going to be a lot of trade talks surrounding that team coming in the next couple months. Number 20 is the Oakland Athletics, who are sitting right now at 11-11. They have to be happy with that. They had a really good week this week. They began the week sweeping the Chicago White Sox off day Thursday, and then they took 2 out of 3 with the team that had the best record in baseball at the time, in the Boston Red Sox. So they should be very proud of the week they had. Then, beginning tonight, they take on the Texas Rangers from Arlington. So that's a nice opportunity for them, getting the Rangers when the Rangers are struggling a little bit. And they close out the weekend with a hard series against the Houston Astros, who are starting to come along a little bit. Number 19 is the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are 12-10. Their hot start is starting to look like a mirage by the day. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies to begin the week, and then they got swept in a 4-game set in Philadelphia against the Phillies over the weekend. They're off today, and they start a 3-game set tomorrow against the Detroit Tigers at home. Then they close out the week hosting the St. Louis Cardinals for 3. They have to go 3-3 or better to keep it up a little bit. If they go worse than 3-3, they're in trouble. Number 18 is the Minnesota Twins, who sit currently at 8-8. They're only 8-8 because they didn't play that many games. They had a rough weekend. They began the week splitting at San Juan with the Indians, in which they could have easily been swept. And over the weekend, they were swept against the Tampa Bay Rays. They begin the week with a very fascinating series, beginning tonight, a 4-game set in the Bronx against the Yankees, who I'll get to in a little while on the podcast. And they close out the week hosting the Cincinnati Reds. The Twins have to come out of this better than 4-3, or at least 4-3, or else I think they're in a little bit of trouble. Although nobody's running away with the AL Central right now, and I'll get to the Indians in a little while. Number 17 is the Washington Nationals, who sit at 10-12 right now. They began the week with a good series win against the Mets in Citi Field, taking 2 out of 3, and they close out the week very disappointing, losing 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. They begin the week at San Francisco starting tonight, and the off day Thursday. They host the Diamondbacks for 3. They got to get out of there better than 3-3 because they're better than the Giants and they're better than the Diamondbacks. Although I'll get to the Diamondbacks in a little while. They're off to a solid start this season. Number 16 is the Colorado Rockies, who are sitting at 12-11 right now. They had an interesting week. They took 2 out of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates, which was good, and they followed it up by losing 2 out of 3 to the Chicago Cubs. So 3-3 isn't terrible for them, although pressure's on them this week. They host the Padres for 3 beginning tonight, off day Thursday, then at the Marlins for 3. They got to come out of that 3-3 or better. You can't lose a series to the Marlins or the Padres. My goodness. Number 15 is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who look rejuvenated, sitting at 10-10 right now. They had a great week this week, sweeping the San Diego Padres, blowing them out every game. They were off Thursday, and then they took 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. And Kenley Jansen is starting to look better, which is a great thing for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have an opportunity to get closer to the Diamondbacks with hosting the Marlins for 3 beginning tonight, off day Thursday. And they have 4 games in San Francisco, including a doubleheader on Saturday. So 7 games for the Dodgers this week. 4-3 or better for the Dodgers, and they're in good position. Number 14 is the Seattle Mariners. They are sitting at an 11-9 right now. They're coming off a pretty decent-ish week, although they did lose 3 out of 4 to the Houston Astros. But the Astros are just heating up right now. And then they bounce back and win 2 out of 3 against the Rangers in Arlington. Beginning tonight, they're at Chicago against the White Sox. And they close out the week with the 4-game set in Cleveland against the Indians. So 4-3 or better would be good for the Seattle team. Number 13 is the Atlanta Braves, who are sitting at 12-8 right now. They had a really good week this week, quietly. They won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. And then they took 2 out of 3 from the Mets, and they were rained out yesterday, which sucks for them. Interesting week for them coming up. They are at Cincinnati for 4. They gotta get a split or something better than a split in that series. And then they close out the week at the Phillies. So 4-3 or better would be a good week for Atlanta. Should be interesting to see what they do. Number 12 is the Chicago Cubs, who are sitting at 10-9 right now. If it wasn't for poor weather, they'd probably be better than 10-9. Despite all the rainouts, they only played 2 games with the Cardinals. Then they split them. And they close out the week winning 2 out of 3 in Colorado against the Rockies. Interesting week ahead for the Cubs as they're at the Indians tomorrow and Wednesday. So there's your 2016 World Series rematch. We'll get to the Indians in a little while. And they close out the week hosting the Brewers for 4. 3-3 or better would be great for the Cubs. Number 11 is the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 14-7. And they continue to roll. They did lose 2 out of 3 of the Braves, but they followed that up by sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates. So a good week for Philadelphia. A very interesting week ahead for them with the off day today. They host the Diamondbacks for 3, and then they close out the week hosting the Braves. 3-3 or better would be good for Philadelphia. Number 11 is the Toronto Blue Jays, who are currently in second place in the American League East at 13-8. They began the week by sweeping the Kansas City Royals, and they close out the week disappointing, losing 3 out of 4 to the Yankees. But this week, all home games, golden opportunity, off day today. Tomorrow, they begin hosting the Boston Red Sox for 3, and they close out the week with the Rangers for 3. They got to come out of that 3-3 or better, or else there's going to be talks that their hot start might have been an aberration, especially if they lose that Red Sox series. Number 10 is the New York Yankees, who are sitting at an 11-9 right now. They had a solid week, all things considered. They split with the Marlins. That Tuesday night game was just a debacle for them. And then they rebounded a little bit with a 3 out of 4 game series win over their division rival Blue Jays. They lost Friday night and they won Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Interesting week ahead for the Bronx Bombers as beginning tonight, they host the Twins for 4. Then over the weekend, they fly out to Los Angeles to face Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and the Angels. The Yankees got to have a 4-3 or better week to consider it a success. Number 9 is the Cleveland Indians, who sit at 11-8 right now, are starting to play a little better. They're pitching better, so things are trending up for the Indians. They began the week splitting the 2-game set in San Juan with the Twins, and they closed out the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. They have the Orioles again tonight, see if they can win 3 out of 4 of that series. After that, they host the Cubs for 2 in the World Series rematch from 2016, and they close out the week with the Mariners for 4. They got to come out of this week 4-3 or better. Number 8 is the St. Louis Cardinals, who sit at 13-8 right now in a tie for first place in the National League Central. They had another good week this week. They split with the Cubs. They only got to play 2 games with the Cubs because of all the rainouts. And they closed out the week sweeping the Reds. This week should be interesting for them. Beginning tomorrow, they host the Mets for 3, and they close out the weekend at Pittsburgh against the Pirates. They got to come out of that 3-3 or better. Number 8 is the Milwaukee Brewers, who are in a tie with the Cardinals in the division. They're sitting at 14-9 right now, as they had a pretty solid week. They beat the Reds 2 out of 3, and then they swept the Marlins. They begin the week starting tomorrow night with 2 at the Royals, and they close out the week at Wrigley Field for 4 against the Cubs. They got to come out at 3-3 or better. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, as they sit at 14-8. They had a disappointing week, getting swept by the Red Sox. Not only were they swept, they were absolutely destroyed. I'm starting to get skeptical about the Angels and their hot start, despite Mike Trout being the best player in the world still. And they lost 2 out of 3 to the lowly San Francisco Giants. Tough ask for them this week as they begin the week starting tonight at Houston, off day Thursday, and they host the Yankees over the weekend. They got to come out of this 3-3 or better. They consider their week a success. Number 4 is the New York Mets, who are 14-6, coming off a disappointing week of their own as well. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals and followed it up, losing 2 out of 3 against the Braves. Their game yesterday was rained out. They could have got out of that with a split. Off day today, beginning tomorrow at the Cardinals, and then over the weekend at the Padres. 3-3 or better would be fine for the Mets. Number 3 is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are sitting at 15-6 right now. They had yet another solid week, winning 2 out of 3 against the Giants and winning 2 out of 3 against the Padres. A tough week for them this week, though. 3 at the Phillies beginning tomorrow, and then they at the weekend at the Nationals. So if they come out at 3-3 or better, that would be pretty impressive. Number 2, the Houston Astros, who are starting to look like baseball's best team again. 16-7 on the year. Winners of 6 straight games. They took 3 out of 4 from the Mariners. Their offense is right again. Then they swept the White Sox, who are dealing with some turmoil right now, as I mentioned before. Starting tonight, they host the Angels. Off day Thursday, then they host the Athletics. They're going to come out of this better than 3-3, I believe. I think 3-3 or worse is a disappointing week because of how well they're playing right now. And still at number 1 is the Boston Red Sox at 17-4. Despite being no hit and despite their offense going cold in Oakland, they're still number 1 on this list. And that's pretty much by default after they put on a show in Los Angeles against Mike Trout and the Angels, pulling off a big sweep against them. And then they lost 2 out of 3 against the Athletics, which is disappointing for them. Interesting week ahead for them with the off day today. They're at the Blue Jays for 3 beginning tomorrow, and they close out the week hosting the Rays. They got to go 4-2 or better. I think 3-3 would be considered a disappointment, considering that they're 17-4 right now. So 4-2 or and better, and the Red Sox should be satisfied. But yeah, I screwed up the power rankings a little bit by numbers. I'll just go 1 through 30. Again, 1 Red Sox, 2 Astros, 3 Diamondbacks, 4 Mets, 5 Angels, 6 Brewers, 7 Cardinals, 8 Indians, 9 Yankees, 10 Blue Jays, 11 Phillies, 12 Cubs, 13 Braves, 14 Mariners, 15 Dodgers, 16 Rockies, 17 Nationals, 18 Twins, 19 Pirates, 20 Athletics, 21 Giants, 22 Rays, 23 Rangers, 24 Tigers, 25 Padres, 26 Orioles, 27 Royals, 28 Marlins, 29 White Sox, 30 Reds. All right, last but not least, before I go, I'm going to go over my latest mock draft. Some changes in this one, and I'll be doing mock drafts all week long. I'll do one tomorrow, I'll do one Wednesday, and I'll do my final one on Thursday morning's podcast. 1. Cleveland Browns, Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC. After having Allen at the top spot the last few mock drafts, I switched back to Darnold at the top, as many are speculating that Darnold will be the top choice for the Browns. Darnold has the highest floor of all the quarterbacks in the draft, and he has the athleticism, leadership, good throwing arm, and clutch plays he's shown at the collegiate level. 2. New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. What Dave Gettleman will do with the second overall pick is the biggest question of this entire draft. Does he trade down? Does he take a quarterback to replace Eli Manning in the future? Does he take Barkley, Bradley Chubb, or Quentin Nelson? If you ask me to bet, I'd say trade down. But the Giants love Barkley, and what should be an improved offensive line, he'll help the Giants tremendously. 3. New York Jets from the Indianapolis Colts. Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA. Many people think Baker Mayfield will be selected here, but there is a lot of growing momentum for Rosen to be selected in this spot. Rosen would be a guy that can handle New York spotlight and is thought of by some to be the safest bet in this draft in terms of quarterback due to his accuracy and redefined throwing mechanics. 4. Cleveland Browns from the Houston Texans. Bradley Chubb, defensive end, North Carolina State. There's a lot of speculation now that the Browns will take Chubb here to pair with Myles Garrett, whether Barkley is still on the board or not. Chubb is a 3-down back that would help them pressure opposing quarterbacks, and having him and Garrett together would be a nice start. 5. Denver Broncos. Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming. John Elway has options here. Allen, Baker Mayfield, Quentin Nelson, a defensive player, or trade down. Allen has the most upside among the quarterbacks in this draft class due to his athleticism, arm strength, and size, and draws comparisons to Carson Wentz. 6. Indianapolis Colts from the New York Jets. Quentin Nelson, guard, Notre Dame. The most important thing for the Colts going forward is keeping Andrew Luck healthy. A good start is a better offensive line, and why not pick the best offensive lineman in this draft? Nelson seems like a sure thing and worthy of a top 10 pick and could go as high as 4th overall. 7. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Micah Fitzpatrick, safety, Alabama. Fitzpatrick is being pegged to go between here and 10 after having Derwin James in the spot last time. I switched to Fitzpatrick, whose versatility makes him special, and he's perhaps the best defensive player in this draft. 8. Chicago Bears. Denzel Ward, cornerback, Ohio State. The Bears have a secondary need, so they pass on a linebacker and take Ward here. Ward isn't the biggest cornerback in the draft, but he can cover scopes that are hard to come by in the league. 9. San Francisco 49ers. Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia. With Reuben Foster's future with the team suddenly in doubt after his arrest, the Niners almost have to take a linebacker here if either Smith or Edmonds is available. Smith brings speed and athleticism to the field, and that's good for a young defense. 10. Oakland Raiders. Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. Edmonds' stock has risen recently, and this would be a great pick for the Raiders, who need playmakers on defense. Edmonds will only be 20 years old once the season gets going, and he will give the Raiders' defense another look. 11. Miami Dolphins. Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington. Vea, massive presence in the middle of a defensive line, will go a long way towards fixing that deficiency, while also providing enough quickness to penetrate into the backfield on some third downs. He also has quick feet and good movement skill for a big defensive lineman. 12. Buffalo Bills from the Cincinnati Bengals. Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Oklahoma. The Bills are doing backflips as Mayfield falls to them here at 12, although I believe a trade-up is a distinct possibility. Mayfield has a ton of potential with his gunslinger mentality, although due to his height and off-court antics is compared to Johnny Manziel. 13. Washington Redskins. Derwin James, strong safety, Florida State. Many people have James linked to the Redskins right now. He's arguably the best defensive playmaker in the draft, and James is the new NFL prototype as a safety capable of producing against the run or both in man and zone coverage. 14. Green Bay Packers. Josh Jackson, cornerback, Iowa. There is now a lot of buzz about the Packers selecting a defensive back here, and with James and Ward off the board, they take a bit of a reach with Jackson. He led the FBS in interceptions last year and has the size and speed and would be a nice fit in the Packers secondary. 15. Arizona Cardinals. Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville. The Cards are another trade-up candidate, but here I have them selecting Jackson, who's a good decision maker and passer. The Cards know that Mike Glennon and Sam Bradford are not the long-term answers, and Jackson, in theory, would be in a redshirt situation here, and the long-term foundation of Jackson and David Johnson is tough to pass up on. 16, Baltimore Ravens. Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. After pegging Calvin Ridley here for a ton of my mock drafts, McGlinchey is the choice here as the Ravens as they look to improve their offensive line. He isn't that strong, but he's athletic and brings stability. 17, Los Angeles Chargers. Deron Payne, defensive tackle, Alabama. The Chargers pose what is arguably the best edge rushing duo in the league with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Adding someone like Payne would only make that defensive line better. 18, Seattle Seahawks. Marcus Davenport, defensive end, UTSA. The Seahawks lost so many of their key pieces of their defensive line lately, which makes Davenport a nice selection here. He is athletic, moves very well, and has physicality, which Pete Carroll would like. 19, Dallas Cowboys. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama. After pegging Cortland Sutton here a lot and having Ridley going to the Ravens, Ridley slides here to Dallas to replace Dez Bryant. Ridley brings a downfield speedy option on the outside that would bring a different look to the Cowboys' offense. 20, Detroit Lions. Harold Landry, defensive end, outside linebacker, Boston College. Landry is all over the map in terms of where people have him mocked in these mock drafts. Landry didn't have a great final season in college, but has the tools to be a solid pro. 21, Cincinnati Bengals from Buffalo Bills. James Daniels, center, Iowa. Daniels is trending up many people's mock boards, and a ton of people have Daniels linked to Cincinnati. He's a good athlete and good technician for a center. 22, Buffalo Bills from the Kansas City Chiefs. Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker, Boise State. Vander Esch is rising up many people's mock drafts of late to the point that this could be a steal. He's a stellar athlete that could patrol sideline to sideline and would be a nice fit in Sean McDermott's defense. 23, New England Patriots from the Los Angeles Rams. Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA. Miller put together a great final season at the collegiate level, and he'd fit right away, replacing Nate Solder on the Pats O-line. Miller is big and strong and will help protect Tom Brady during his twilight years. 24, Carolina Panthers. Will Hernandez, guard, UTEP. No-brainer pick here as the Panthers find their replacement for Andrew Norwell. Hernandez is big and powerful, and he provides mobility. 25, Tennessee Titans. Rashawn Evans, linebacker, Alabama. Evans brings an athletic presence who can fill multiple roles. He was more of an edge defender earlier in his career and pressured the quarterbacks on 67 of his 284 career rushes. However, he has also shown well in a more traditional role over the last 2 seasons. 26, Atlanta Falcons. Taven Bryan, defensive end, Florida. The Falcons don't have any major needs, but bolstering their defensive line can be necessary if Dontari Poe leaves in free agency. Bryant has strong comparisons to J.J. Watt and will bring depth to the Falcons' defensive line. 27, New Orleans Saints. Hayden Hurst, tight end, South Carolina. Hurst is a player trending upward heading into the draft. The Saints make sense for him because they have a need at tight end, and he would open up the field more for Michael Thomas in that offense. 27, Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Hughes, cornerback, UCF. Hughes is a player trending up in many people's mock boards, and people have him pegged in the top 15, but I don't see him being drafted that high. Hughes would fit nicely with Artie Burns in that Steelers secondary. 29, Jacksonville Jaguars. DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland. Moore is a fast riser on many people's draft boards as the Jags snag him to help replace Allen Robinson. There are people that think Moore can end up being the best receiver in this draft class. 30, Minnesota Vikings. Isaiah Wynn, guard, offensive tackle, Georgia. The Vikings bolstered their offensive line by selecting Wynn here, who could be a possible steal. He can play tackle if needed, but will succeed as a guard instantly and plays with outstanding leverage, and he has the athleticism to mirror pass rushers. 31, New England Patriots. Jair Alexander, cornerback, Louisville. Alexander is a player trending up people's draft boards. He'd be a nice fit in New England considering that they have a need at the position after losing Malcolm Butler. 32, Philadelphia Eagles. Connor Williams, guard, offensive tackle, Texas. The Eagles don't really have that many needs. Williams is one of the better offensive linemen in this draft, and the Eagles' offensive line is aging, so this would be a solid pick. That's it for my mock draft, and that's it for today's podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the playoff action, Major League Baseball, do one more mock draft, and I'll do best fits, terms of not a mock draft, but just teams in general and players that I think would fit best with each team. I hope you guys have a nice day, everybody.